Ladies and gentlemen, let me kindly crave your indulgence so that we'll be on our feet for just 1 minute. Observe 1 minute silence for our late Mankralo. Mankralo has gone to his maker. We have a planning committee in place working towards the burial. We'll let you know the outcome. But it should be made open that tentatively the funeral is scheduled for the end of November this year. Tentatively. Distinguished members of the Osu Jersey. The Osu Jersey has been quiescent for a very long time in the midst of unpleasant occurrences, situations, commentaries affecting the Osu traditional area. We have remained silent because those noises were in the first place unnecessary. They were so loud, so ugly, so we decided to keep quiet. Today we have decided to have a press conference because it seems the cacophony has abated. And today we can make a meaningful and effective press conference. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, that's why we have met this morning to have a press conference to address issues affecting the Osu Jersey, affecting the Osu people, affecting our lands, affecting our boundaries, affecting our properties, and indeed are affecting our very heritage. As members of the media, we believe that, and also partners in development, you have a great responsibility to amplify these issues and to bring to attention these issues to the general public as we work together to address them. On this call, may I kindly have your attention. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, first permit me to touch on sometimes misrepresented issues bordering on Osu lands boundaries. In recent times, there have been several statements and claims made in the print and electronic media in respect of ownership of some lands in the Greater Accra, with regrettably mendacious arguments as to the right owners of these lands. As owners and custodians of Osu lands, we consciously refrain from making comments on the issues because we have commissioned a body with the appropriate legal competence to critically examine the issues and to present clear understanding of the situation. Several documents, including court judgments and proceedings dating back into colonial times, were examined, and critical findings were made, some of which we hope to highlight at this press conference. The 1992 Constitution of Ghana provides that All stool land shall be vested in the appropriate stool and on behalf of and held in trust for the subjects of the stool in accordance with customary law and usage. Lands, resources acquired by our ancestors have for many years been under the authority appertained in other traditional jurisdictions all over the country. Osu stool lands shares boundaries from the east coast of Gulf of Guinea with the last stool at the river Obenesu and extend northwards through Shiashi to the left side of Okpongolo on the Dodowa Road to Ayimensa. On the west side of Osu, shares boundaries with the Gbese stool at the river Dodokwe and continues to Kokomlemle through to the right side of Kwabenya and to the north with Akwapin people. Over the years, our rights to own, develop, control our lands, territories, and resources have been jeopardized by interferences from outsiders, threatening our very existence and our identity as people of a particular origin. These interferences in the stool's management of its lands, which includes fraudulent land transactions and conveyances without the consent and concurrence of the stool, amongst others, have far-reaching consequences on the indigenes of Osu, and this practice ought to be curtailed or ceased forthwith. All Osu lands are vested in the stool, and therefore it is essential that all land transactions are conducted with the consent and concurrence of the Osu stool and the principal elders of Osu in order to avoid creating voidable conveyances. We will not stand in the way of persons who acquire interest in Osu lands for purposes of development, provided such acquisitions are obtained lawfully. Over the years, there have been acquisitions of Osu land by government with the objective of socio-economic development for the public good. It is tried knowledge that in situations where such lands are not used for the purposes for which they were acquired, it has been our long-cherished expectation and in conformity with provision of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, such lands shall revert to the original owners. On the contrary, there have been numerous instances of willful infractions of these fundamental legal provisions to an extent that lands acquired by the state end up in individual names. And such situations could hardly be described as public interest initiatives. The Achimota forest lands and the old family of Osu. The subject matter of the release of lands in the Achimota forest is of concern to the Osu stool, mainly because the right recognition has not been given to the appropriate stakeholders in order to obviate court actions in the future. The Achimota forest is one of the villages established by the people of Osu in course of their migration from Osudoku en route to Christiansburg, where the indigenes are largely settled. Other villages established by the people of Osu include, but not limited to, Hachu, Papao, Legon, Achimota, Jowulu, and many others. In various land matters involving acquisition by the colonial government, as well as other land cases, the judgment of the colonial courts have clearly taken the position that all Osu lands are held only by the stool as allodial owners. This decision have gone as far as confirming that there are no quota, family, or individual allodial ownership of Osu lands. In the 1951 judgment of Jackson J, sitting at the Supreme Court of the Gold Coast, Eastern Division lands held at Victoriasburg, Accra, and captioned in the matter of public lands ordinance, land acquired for University College, Accra, the claim of the Owu family as allodial owners of land acquired for the University of Ghana campus was dismissed, among other reasons. It was also clearly established that the Owus had manufactured evidence to establish ownership of the said lands, which at the time of acquisition and before then were being farmed largely by Osu people as subject to Osu stool. In the matter of Achimota land acquired by the government of Gold Coast Colony under certificate of title number 869/1921, earlier on, the compensation paid to the Owu family and the Oku family was not on the basis of ownership, but for loss of settlement and livelihood. The compensation was paid to the Owu family's right to be on the land as subjects of the Osu stool. It is important to emphasize that the compensation was not only paid to the Owu family, but was shared between the Owu and the Oku families. The Osu stool is the only allodial owner of Achimota Forest and other Osu establishments during their migration from Osudoku to their present location. Clearly, any release of portion of the Achimota Forest to any person or persons other than the Osu stool will be unlawful, therefore. In the coming weeks, the chief and elders of Osu will engage the appropriate authorities in government to iron out all issues regarding any contemplated, planned release of Achimota Forest land to anyone. Additionally, and without exception, there shall be various actions to recover Osu stool lands fraudulently acquired, while also regularizing irregular titles on the land belonging to the Osu stool. Quite recently, there have been various publications, interviews, and discussions from sections of the Ghana community regarding ownership of the Achimota Forest land. We wish to advise members of the Ghana community as a whole to desist from any frivolous claims to the Achimota Forest. Decisions of the colonial courts regarding ownership of the said lands are in the statute books of the state. We expect all stakeholders to respect these decisions and not to delude themselves into thinking that there are no documents on the lands aforementioned. Osu Kajano, Osu Children's Home, and cantonment lands. The 1902 judgment established Obenesu River as Osu La boundary. There should be no denying the fact that Osu Home School near Kahajano Estate, Osu Children's Home near Cantonments, and all road networks in the nearby estates are named with the identity with the 4 Osu quarters. It is our belief, and we sincerely hope, that our brothers from La will understand the issues at stake and endeavor not to confuse political demarcations with traditional boundaries. Our chieftaincy disputes is the cause of all these confusions, but Osu will ensure that the right thing is done during the creation of electoral boundaries in order to preserve the peace we are currently enjoying. Abelenkpe, Mamobi, and Jawuru lands. We are also working assiduously on asserting our claims on Abelenkpe, Mamobi, and Jawuru lands. Additionally, our legal team is critically assessing the issues relating to our lands, and at the right time, we will commence the necessary discussions and, if plausible, initiate appropriate legal actions against other traditional areas, institutions, and individuals to stake our claims. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we want to end this conference by urging all indigenes of Osu to remain united, steadfast, in the midst of these disturbing, worrying circumstances. We also want to express our appreciation to you for honoring this invitation and pray that you provide very fair coverage of this press conference. Thank you, and God bless you all.